Even when I heard about the Tartars and Tartaria and how they lived in the north and they were like, that rung a bell. That's when this all started for me. Like that was already like, ooh, this is familiar. I know this, you know. And already being a truther in various other ways.
Say what?
These are truth drops. And they're talking about the Tartars and everything that really we would come to be talking about today.
And what drove you to make the YouTube channel?
I just love to share personally. I mean, I bug people who don't want to be shared with. Friends and customers at my shop or coworkers or whatever it might be. And I've just been used to, you know, being, I guess, kind of a black sheep, but I still share. I still passionately share what matters to me. And so I just wanted to share everything that I was learning with the ancient civilizations.
And when you started that, did you ever get a sense that you were going to get to the point where you're at now in terms of an audience, in terms of subscribers?
No, not really. I thought maybe I might get to half of what I've gotten to at best. I don't expect much. I didn't expect this much, and I don't expect anything in the future. But at the same time, I'll keep doing what I'm doing.
From my experience, I recognize that I have a flawed channel. I know that I make mistakes all the time. My subscribers call me out for it, and I believe that they're absolutely right. I take the path where I call myself a content creator, so I don't mind. It's like, okay, I made an error. It is what it is. I am human. It's a mistake. But I worry about the idea that I could be steering people, you know, with false information, lies. But anyway, yeah, you were jumping into your dream story.
Oh, my dream. As real as could be, I used to have flying dreams. To where I feel like if just something changed just enough, I could do it. You know what I mean? Like it's not because I dreamt it enough, I can do it, you know?
Say what?
Because I dreamt it enough, I can do it, you know? But the conditions just something needs to switch.
And it was reoccurring?
It was reoccurring. And I was at school, at elementary school, which would have been before sixth grade max. And I had a shopping cart, and nobody was at the elementary school, maybe a few stragglers. But, you know, big old long concrete runways. And I had a shopping cart, and I would run as fast as I could with the shopping cart. And then I could slowly start to, you know, push myself up. And then I would launch off of the shopping cart and let go. And then I could fly. But I had to take off with the shopping cart. But I wasn't buying anything. I just took the shopping cart. And even that felt wrong in the dream. Like that I had the shopping cart at the school felt like, you know, I shouldn't have this at the school, you know.
Was there any sense of lucid dreaming in those dreams? Or was it, because you knew you wanted to fly, but did you know at any point it was a dream?
You know, that's interesting. Because it feels very conscious. Fine line between lucid. I was doing exactly what I wanted to do in that dream. That's the interesting part. That's what makes it feel lucid, and that it couldn't have been any more lucid is because that's exactly what I wanted to do. And I was young enough, a young enough mind. That was it. That was as lucid as it could be. I mean, sometimes you have dreams where you're being chased and it's not pleasant, you know, or I've had dreams where my old dog, you know, got run over, or, you know, horrible things, you know. This was exactly what I would do in the moment. I would do it right now if I could.
Did you ever see anything when you were a kid? Anything supernatural?
Mm-hmm. When I was like 4, as clear as could be. Again, this isn't even a dream. This is reality. I'm laying in my bed And I had a little stuffed animal, Curious George monkey, up on the shelf. And he jumped down off the shelf and come and sat on the bed next to me.
What?
And I knew I was, I was 4, but I was like, I knew that this was paranormal. I was like, I knew at 4 that, like, of course this animal doesn't move on his own,
Damn!
And he came and sat on my bed and looked at me, and looking back, it's like he was just, it must have been telepathic. He didn't say anything, but yet he just looked at me, and all I can remember is like falling asleep. As real as could be. I mean, one of my earliest memories in paranormal memory. Not one of my earliest memories. I have a lot of memories, but that was a paranormal memory for sure.
I got chills, John. I got chills when you said that. Yep.
Really?
I was around the same age. My brother and I shared a bedroom. I was on a twin bed. He was on a twin bed. I distinctly remember waking up. My stuffed toy was Littlefoot, and I always slept with Littlefoot from The Land Before Time. And when I popped up, on my brother's bed was a Littlefoot going all the way up to the ceiling and he was trying to like get up onto my brother's bed. And it, terrified me. And I grabbed my Littlefoot stuffed toy and I hopped out of bed and I was looking at it. And then I went to my parents' room and I jumped in their bed and I didn't try to wake them. And they didn't wake either. And they were just snoring. And they were both snoring really loud. I just sat in their bed. And then all of a sudden, this giant stuffed toy teddy bear was going back and forth between their door, like it wouldn't enter, but it just kind of kept back and forth. And I told my brother about it the next day, and all I remember him saying is, "Why didn't you wake me?" And I didn't have a good answer. And just like you said, vivid, like it wasn't a dream. That thing was as real as anything has ever been.
Wow. And you were waking up, whereas I was awake and falling asleep.
My mom and I have a pretty good relationship, but we never really talk so much deep. And finally, probably like in the last 2 years, I brought that story up to her. And she said that when she was a child, she remembers being in the room, this bolt of lightning entering the room, it manifesting as like a humanoid and then disappearing. And I was like, "Have you told anyone that story?" I was like, "No." I'm like, "What the fudge?" So you've seen something when you were a kid.
I did have a hallucination once when I broke my leg skiing when I was 5 years old. And I was put up in a hospital. And I saw there was like Bert and Ernie and all Sesame Street on the wall. And they were dancing.
What? What the? Damn!
And it wasn't like they were just trippy, just moving around all kaleidoscope. No, they were walking and dancing and singing. And I was like,
I'm starting to feel funny.
Well, I feel fine. I guess I'm gonna. Oh God! Why didn't anybody tell me?
and there was another bed next to me, and I was like, and this person was sleeping. It was like another kid with something broken. I don't know. Totally oblivious. And I'm like, what? And I kind of loved it, actually. I kind of was like, this is really cool. And this is paranormal again to me. But for some reason, I also knew that it probably had something to do with something that they'd given me in this place, which it was. but both experiences, especially the first one, I didn't feel fear. I didn't feel threatened. I felt like that's the weird part, and looking back, going back to how I got into, truth and, going back to how I got into, truth and, truth and, truth and, when I was like maybe 17, 18, early 20s, it was like UFO, and I'm still into UFO. Like, what are those? What's going on? I don't care we don't have to say little green men, but what's going on with this phenomenon? And I've always been fascinated. But when I got into that phenomenon, I looked back on the monkey thing, the Curious George that jumped off the shelf, and I was like, maybe this was some kind of an alien, like maybe it was just showing itself like this.
Stop it. Get some help.
I definitely have interpreted it as a shapeshifter.
No! God, please, no! 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 No!
Because it was clearly something that wanted to make me feel a little more comfortable, and therefore it adopted what I was using as a source of comfort. And I do feel like when I woke up and saw it, it seemed like it had to back off. Like it didn't really, like it was, the mission was it was going on that bed. But then as soon as I was staring at it, it was like, I still want to do it, but I can't. And then, like I said, once it became this teddy bear, it seemed like it was interested in me, but it didn't have permission to like enter the room.
I saw a ghost once. My most pronounced ghost story, a few experiences like this, but my most pronounced one, and I was talking about ghosts like you and I are now, for example, or potential.
What is that behind you?
You actually scared me for a minute. just the, you know what I mean? The energy. Yeah, it's so powerful. It's so powerful. And I'm open. And so when you're open, it's worse, so, all of a sudden it was like that though. It was like that. I'm talking with a friend, and all of a sudden, not only could I feel like an electrical surge, it was like I could see a white light, but it wasn't there when you looked at it, but you could feel it and you could see it almost.
Enough! That's enough!
You made me miss.
And I don't talk about it, of course, because that ruffles feathers, but that's a biggie. It's like, no way. I told you my beliefs on God, just a one infinite seems very close to what you believe. And I'm like, and now you're going to have me take the knee, to this character, like that's supposed to be the son of God. Why would I pay homage to any person's son? You know what I mean? Like the father is you're going to have more respect for our father. And they're like, well, he is the father, he's also the father and he's also the son. Well, then I'm just going to respect the father then if he's both,
I talk to God every day. I don't need anybody to be in between me and God.
I don't need, and then they threw a ghost in,
Oh,
like,
yeah, the ghost.
And then the ghost.
Don't forget the ghost.
I know. Now this guy's tagging along, like there's not enough. Do we need to divide ourselves from God so much? Now we're 3 times removed, Absurd.
Yep.
But it's a toughie. I mean, especially in America, it's very, it's very controversial,
But my point is that our community, the Mudflood community, for some reason, maybe it's just my view, is that a lot of people are believing in this Jesus was already 1,000 years reign thing. This is becoming a thing.
I know.
It's driving me nuts.
Shabbat